if someone uses their human design against themselves or as an excuse why they won't do something, well, I'm going to find something to challenge that. For some reason, I talk a lot about Taylor Swift. I talk about her to make the point because a lot of projectors will go, oh, I have no energy. I have no energy.
Is she a projector?
She's a projector. When a projector is doing what they love, it's not work. It's the thing that gives them energy. So they can have just as much energy. However, they are going to be deeply affected by the things that are work.
What would the world look like if everybody was utilizing human design?
You know, we're taught from the moment we're born that the authority is outside of us, that someone else outside of us knows better than we do. Because it's safe. If we give it away to someone else, then it's not our responsibility. You are the strategy, not someone else's rules for how you succeed. You actually are designed to succeed the way you're designed to succeed. The chart that you're going to get is really going to help you understand you. And it's not like you're going to get it and go, oh, that's a surprise. You're going to be like, wow, thank you for the permission.
Even just knowing that I was a projector, which is like, wait for the invitation, know that you are a teacher, things like that was like permission, like I am on the right path.
And as I checked your chart this morning, I was like, that is crazy, because as we're speaking, you're in the next shift. So you're shifting into what's called the gate of the sensitive. This sensitivity is all about communication through frequency. These are the people that are telepathic. So this frequency really dials you into what people need. And as a healer, that's exactly what you're doing.
You really choose it. Ever since I wrote my goals down with the pen, my dreams and reality have both been blending in. I just hope that in the end, my debt don't extend me on my dividends if it did.
Your reality is literally being created by the quantum field around you right now. Most people think the space around them is empty, but quantum physics proved it's packed with energy patterns constantly affecting your biofield. Your phone and Wi-Fi are creating electromagnetic chaos that's disrupting your natural frequency. Here's what's wild. Scientists figured out how to actually flip this. Instead of your environment draining you, it can actually heal you by broadcasting beneficial quantum frequencies into your space. I actually use this app called Quantum Upgrade in my home, and the energy shift is incredible. You control it from your phone and feel the difference in minutes. And I really want to gift you with that quantum field. So just comment quantum and I'll send you my code to get it for free. Okay, so wow, I can't believe we're finally meeting in person.
No, it's been a while.
I feel like I've known you forever. So Emma Dunwoody, for people who don't know, but you've been on the podcast before, you have the Human Design podcast, which is how I first met you. And then now this incredible book, Human Design Made Simple. And before we get into this, I also want to say that you also help other people who are entrepreneurs and building their business, as you have a multi-7-figure business, and you help other people do the same too. Can you tell me a little bit about that first?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that I noticed I had an advertising career and then switched into becoming an entrepreneur. And from the moment I had my own business, you know, it was hustle and grind. And I'd pretty much hustled my entire advertising career as well. And then one of the things that I realized over the years as human design came into my life, I really understood the difference between hustle, force, going after things, and actually aligning to my authenticity and becoming magnetic. So I've really learned how all these rules that we thought we had to follow to become successful are mainly BS. And when you really align to your design, then you can do it through flow and fun and adventure or whatever your specific, you know, how your purpose is meant to unfold. So, you know, it's really important to me that I can, you know, share this with as many people as I possibly can, because business is meant to be fun and it's meant to work for you as well as your clients, your customers, your audience, whatever it is. So, yeah, I suppose it became my mission to make sure that human design can help as many entrepreneurs and people out there really live an aligned life.
Yeah, and you really have, especially with this book, which is a mainstream published with Penguin Random House. You really are making it mainstream, and it's really exciting now because people used to always say, you know, what's your sign or what's this and that, and now people are like, do you know your human design? And I'm starting to hear it more and more. Yeah. But before we get into that, because I do want to talk about that, you said something just now when you were describing how you help people, and you said we have these rules, and it's so true because I've been noticing in the last maybe year or two, when people talk to me now, I used to just brush it off, and now I hold them accountable when they say something, and I'm like, that's just a rule that you've made up.
Yep.
But you know how before you're like, nobody's asking me to be their teacher right now. I'm just gonna finish this conversation. But now I can't not call it out. You know, when people just make up these rules like, oh, I can't do that because I don't have a big following, or oh, I don't because this. I'm like, you just made up a rule that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think like we actually worked with a consultant a number of years ago, and she said to us, you do realize that every expert is just making it up.
Yeah.
And when she said that to us, it actually made me go, hang on a second, that's life. We have all these people saying that this is truth. It's not a truth. It's a belief, and a belief is no more than a convenient assumption. It's not true. It might be true to you, but you've learnt it. So I really think that this is this place where when it comes to success and business, we have been taught how to succeed as a man, number one, you know, have a goal, take the action, go after it, push, force. But as the feminine, that's not how we succeed. We magnetize. We do it very, very differently. So we live in this world that success looks, you know, this is how you've got to succeed. And, you know, again, part of my core talent is to break the rules because it's just not true. You do not have to succeed through the rules of, you know, you've got to get your strategy right. You've got to get your marketing right. You've got to get everything right. No. In my opinion and my experience, you've got to get your alignment right. Know who you are, how your energy operates, what your purpose is, what your superpowers are, really look at your shadows and your challenges, and then you can build whatever business you want and have whatever success you want by your own definition. And I really believe that's the world we're moving to.
I'm getting excited hearing you say this because I know, so I just launched my own also online community, Awaken the Healer Within, to do what you're describing, show people how I went from an Emmy-winning journalist, successful in that world, to fully leaving and starting my own energy healing practice. And I'm just imagining, because you're going to be a guest speaker at the end of this month for the class, for the community, and they need to hear what you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the biggest thing. We all need to hear it. We all need to know that you are the strategy, not someone else's rules for how you succeed. You actually are designed to succeed the way you're designed to succeed. So as many people as possible that I can introduce to that, bring it on.
Yeah, you've spoken about your own journey from burnout to discovering your energetic blueprint, which is very unique from anybody else's, right? How can human design help people who feel burned out or lost right now?
Well, the first place that we start, and this is why I wrote the book the way I wrote the book, is we really got to understand the macro parts of our design. And when we start to understand our type, our strategy, our authority, even our profile, we start to realize that we've been forcing our way through life and that our energy is designed in a very specific way. And burnout specifically, if we just think about you and I. So I'm a manifesting generator. When I talk about human design, I've got 3 motors. So I've got, you know, consistent energy to take action as long as I'm responding, because I'm an MG. But you're a self-directed projector. So you don't have any motors, and so your energy for doing is not consistent. However, when your energy is there, you can get so much done because you're all about efficiency. You know how to improve things. You can see really deeply into the other. So even at our macro level, when you start to understand, wow, my energy is just not designed to work that way. So you working in a 9 to 5, working really long hours every day of the week, like there's no way you can ever function at your best. It's never going to work for you. So true. And you will end up in burnout. You'll end up probably with a lot of physical symptoms. Whereas for me, I'm a manifesting generator. I have to follow what lights me up. So if I'm working hard following what lights me up, then I have endless energy. But if I do the things that I'm obligated to do, or I'm at a job that I'm like, I can't, this is boring, this is awful, then I'm going to probably end up with a thing that we call functional burnout. So I can still turn up to my job every day, but I literally lose the passion for life. I have no energy. So I'll end up, you know, my burnout's going to look long and slow, whereas yours will be kind of quicker and more obvious. So once we understand how our energy literally is switched on and we actually follow that, then, you know, it's almost impossible to burn out.
It's really true too, because when I was at news, I mean, I worked crazy hours, sometimes 20 hours a day. And I was so burned out. I always tell people it took me about 2 to 3 years after to regulate my nervous system and to be back to where, like, now I'm so regulated. And I do things that, you know, as you were describing, you said as a projector, it's like more on feeling and letting things flow and happen, not forcing it. And I notice sometimes I'll be working on a project, everything is going well, but I'll just go, you know what, it's not the time. And I'll totally sit on it for even a year.
Yep.
You know, I have a book coming out, coming out for pre-sale in December this year. And I wrote the book 5 years ago, finished it 5 years ago, and just sat on it until about 2 months ago when I got with the publisher and we, created everything. Yeah. So it's really about feeling rather than forcing it.
100%. And the thing is, when we listen to our intuition or, internal guidance system, whatever you want to call it, then we're going to take, the flow road. We're going to take the, in many cases, the faster track. Because if you'd published that book all the way back then perhaps the ideas that are in that book wouldn't have been as well received as they will be now. But your internal guidance system and, the energy of the universe or the quantum or whatever you want to call it, when we listen to these two in communication, then our timing is going to be right. And whatever we put out in the world will actually be received as opposed to it landing flat because we've forced it out there.
Now, for people who don't maybe know what their own human design is, the central idea is you get your birthday, your time, the birthplace, very similar to what you would do with an astrology reading. And you get these different blueprints. Can you describe what you mean by blueprint?
Yeah, sure. So what you're going to get is, especially if you get it on our website, you're going to get like a 17-page outline of your human design.
No way.
For free.
What is your website?
EmmaDunwoody.com. Okay. And that'll really give you everything from the macro and it'll start looking at the micro. But what this blueprint's going to tell you is everything from, we've talked about type, so projector, manifesting generator, but it's also going to give you things like your incarnation cross. And your incarnation cross is really related to your purpose. Like, who am I here to be and how am I here to serve? So it's going to go deeper into your superpowers. It's also going to really highlight your shadows, where your challenges are, because we all do have very specific challenges. And I use the gene keys a lot as well. So, we kind of put a lot of the gene keys in there as well. So we can really look at what our core wound is, what our core talent is, what our biggest challenge is. So when we do that, all of a sudden what we realize from this blueprint is that there is a very specific way for us to operate. So the blueprint itself is actually, and I just think this is crazy, it's Western astrology, the I Ching, the Kabbalah tree of life, what have I forgotten? The Hindu chakra system. So all four of these ancient wisdoms have been mathematically mapped together. Like, that's crazy. Do you know how long it would have taken a human brain to work that out?
And this was all done pre-AI.
Yeah. Pre-AI in 8 days.
What I love about you saying this, and it helps me because I'm so maybe stubborn about like sticking with ancient, because like everything someone tells me about my human design, I'm like, oh yeah, well, my Vedic astrology says that. Yeah. But you've never told me anything, Emma, that isn't like so crazy spot on. And you have to realize like it does come from all of these ancient traditions together. Exactly. I mean, it's a really powerful system. It really is. And yeah, ultimately the chart that you're going to get is really going to help you understand you. And it's not like you're going to get it and go, oh, that's a surprise. You're going to be like, wow, thank you for the permission. It's like a mirror. Yeah, 100%. I got that with even as the most simple thing is like, okay, are you a projector and manifesting? That's like the very top, right? Yeah. But there's so much under that. But even just knowing that I was a projector, which is like, wait for the invitation, know that you are a teacher, things like that was like, wow, okay. It's almost like permission, like you said, that, yeah, I am on the right path. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, if we look at our profile, for example, you're a 3-5 and I'm a 3-5, we know straight away that we learn through experience because of that line 3, it's about trial and error, but it's also about adventure. It's about, resourceful challenge. It's, fun, it's humor. And the line 5, this is fundamentally the healer. The sometimes it gets called the superhero because we can solve any problem. Like any problem we can solve it. So true, isn't it? Yeah, right. Yeah. And this is our how. It's how we move through life. So when we understand our profile, we get this really clear overview of how we're designed to move through life. And for you and I as line 3s, it's really relieving to know that actually we're not doing things the hard way. We're designed to
make just as many mistakes as have just as many wins, because people really come to us to understand what doesn't work just as much as they need to understand what does work.
Yeah, and as you say that, it's blowing my mind because you and I are both pretty adventurous, fun,
Yeah.
but also like problem solvers, and have made a lot of mistakes. We even like, while we were setting up, we were talking about a certain experience that we both had with different people, but the same experience, and how we learned and grew so much from those, quote, mistakes.
Yeah.
And you mentioned incarnation cross. So people go to emmadunwoody.com. They can find out what theirs is. What do you know about my incarnation cross?
Yeah. So what was really cool, of course, I had to check your design again when I was coming in, and you actually have a very unique incarnation cross. And there's more than 200 in total.
Oh.
And there's only one, I think there's 180, something around there. And there's only one that shifts its focus. So each incarnation cross is made up by 4 gates. And with everyone else, except for your cross, and your cross is the cross of the 4 ways, we have like the prominent, like our personality sun is our prominent energy, and our personality earth grounds us. And then the other 2 have specific roles as well. But yours, the focus, the energy shifts every 18 and a half years. And as I checked your chart this morning, I was like, that is crazy, because as we're speaking, you're in the next shift.
Yeah.
So you're shifting into what's called the gate of the sensitive. And this is an energy that, Richard Rudd talks about in the Gene Keys as Gene Key 19. It's the shadow of codependency. But it's as we move up into the gift and the acidic state, this sensitivity is all about communication through frequency. So these are the people that are, telepathic. They're the people that kind of, you walk past a tree and you're kind of like, I feel like that tree just said hello to me. Like in its own way it did. And you actually communicate through frequency, and everything that has a frequency, so everything in our universe, can communicate back. So you're really shifting into this place where your frequency is going to become more and more profound. The other thing from a human design perspective is it's the gate of the sensitive is also about the needs of self and others. So this frequency really dials you into what people need. And as a healer, like that's exactly what you're doing. And people might tell you, this is what I think, or this is what I feel, or this is what I know. Whereas you're like, well, I'm actually having the full conversation with all of your frequency. And it's really helping me to see what you actually can't see right now.
It's exactly it. It's so true.
Yeah, right?
Oh my God. And you're right. Like I'm in such a transition phase right now, and going into more telepathic, like sometimes I'm having psychedelic experiences without taking anything by myself. And that's never happened before. And it's happening more and more now as I'm in that phase into the sensitive. And I'll take walks here because I'm surrounded by nature. And I literally will ask the trees and nature, I'll be like, you as Earth have had more clients than I'll ever have. Right? With your herbs, with your oils, with everything that we get from Earth that heals. So I always say, please teach me how to be a healer. Like you are the ultimate healer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that is the gate of the sensitive,
That's
exactly
so
what you're talking about. Yeah.
Who am I to become a healer? What if I'm not ready? Every healing facilitator, whether a breathwork teacher, a sound bath facilitator, or energy worker, has these thoughts when they first start out. It's totally normal. But that doubt is not the truth. It's the ego trying to preserve an old pattern. Your desire to start a holistic service is proof that the path is already chosen at the level of your mind. The truth is your offerings were given to you to give to others, and giving them is how you remember and how you come back to yourself. I spent years winning Emmys at ABC News while secretly knowing I was meant to help people heal. Friends would come to me with their problems. Strangers would open up within minutes of knowing me. But I kept these gifts hidden because I thought I had to choose between money and meaning. But here's what changed everything. There are powerful tools and frameworks to help transform a complete beginner into a confident, competent healer. That's exactly what I teach in my free training. What's most important for you at this early stage is getting clarity on whether healing is the right path for you. The longer you experience this internal tug of war between your desire to be a healer, but then doubting yourself, the the more likely it is you'll do nothing and give up on your calling. So I want to encourage you to take the bold move to break that vicious cycle today by watching my free training. I'll share with you the spiritual wisdom that took me from a burnt out corporate professional to a healer while making more than I did in my corporate job and being able to live more comfortably, but more importantly, give back even more and be glad to be of service. So if it turns out healing is the right path for you, I'll also tell you exactly how you can get started on your path today. So click the button below and you'll get instant access to the free training. So I know you've done, the pilgrimage of the El Camino trail. We've talked about that before twice. If this book, your book now, were a trail, what is the terrain that you're asking readers to cross? And what's the destination that they can expect to arrive at?
Oh, I love this question. So ultimately, it's the journey from without to within. We're taught from the moment we're born that the authority is outside of us, that someone else outside of us knows better than we do. And ultimately what that book's all about, what all my work is all about, is the journey within, that journey to that place of becoming the authority, our inner authority, knowing who you really, really are. And I suppose the bridge that we have to cross is that bridge of, the courage to let go of the conditioning, to let go of giving our authority, our power away, because it's safe. If we give it away to someone else, then it's not our responsibility. But when we really understand that everything in our life is our responsibility, like whatever our life looks like, that's on us. So once we understand, hang on, I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to discover who I am. I'm going to journey inward. I'm going to find out who I came here to be, and then I'm going to give that to the world. Then it's ultimately coming to that place of, yes, power, like empowerment, true power, as in, Dr. Hawkins' book, Power versus Force, not power that we see in governments, and that's just force. And it's that journey really back into the heart, into the soul, and having the courage to be our most authentic self.
You just mentioned authority, and I want to talk about that, but also strategy, because these are two things that we hear a lot of in human design. I haven't fully comprehended it, but so strategy and authority are key parts of how a person is designed. And this is how they're designed. Is it to make decisions?
Yeah. So the cool thing about strategy and authority is that if you know nothing else about yourself and you just follow your strategy and authority, then everything else will ultimately fall into line.
So how does that work?
Because ultimately, if we're just following our strategy and authority, our correct decisions, and I'll go into specifically what they are in a moment, then we can't help but be our truest self. We can't help but fall into our authenticity and let go of our conditioning. So our strategy, which will be defined by our type, so mine is to respond and inform, and yours is to wait for the invitation. It's how the universe guides us, right? And our authority, and that's going to be different depending on each individual, so it's not aligned to type. This is how our inner authority communicates, okay? So I love to think of strategy and authority as this constant communication loop. So they're constantly in communication, guiding us forward. So my authority, I'm an emotional authority. So it's a bit of a paradox for me because I'm a manifesting generator. I have the fastest moving channel in the design. So I love things quickly, fast, let's have it yesterday type thing. But my authority is emotional. So that means slow down, sleep on it, wait for emotional neutrality. So it's been this amazing balancing thing for me. So now I don't run at everything and I sleep on things, especially big decisions or perhaps communication with people that potentially are more difficult to communicate with. The old me would just have jumped on it and reacted. But this me just sleeps on it, waits, because then by tomorrow I'm really neutral. Either I don't care at all and I can just deal with it simply, or what I have, what my decision is, it feels a lot clearer. I'm like, oh, I absolutely am going to do that, or I'm absolutely not. So when I just follow, respond and inform, I have to tell people, hey, I'm thinking of doing this, or I'm trying that, or this is what, so that I have a free pathway almost to follow, to respond. And then I wait to make big decisions, then everything just flows easily for me. So for you, for example, you actually have one of the, I'm going to say rarer authorities, because you've got what we call the sounding board. So you have to hear yourself speak. And you're always going to be speaking about the direction you need to go in to receive or experience more love. This is what you're talking about. And it's this process of, as you're speaking, you're going to go from this almost like, I'm kind of trying to work it out, but it's not a thinking process, to a moment that you hear yourself say something that you're like, oh, I know that's it. We're good here. So you want to have someone in your life that you can discuss things, talk to, but that person has to have no agenda. It's not about them giving you advice or telling you what they think.
Right.
It's someone that said, hey, I heard this. Did you hear that? Or it's someone that says, okay, yeah. You definitely feel like that felt more like the direction you wanted to go in. How does that feel for you? So constantly giving you open-ended questions to help you kind of flesh it out a little bit, and then you'll know. But I know a lot of the sounding board authorities that they can just send a voice message to a friend, and then the next voice message is, don't worry, I answered my own question.
It's so true, because even when I'm just saying it to myself, talking to myself, and I'm thinking of certain friends that I do that with, that you described, but a lot of times I just need to say it out loud. So I'll be walking around here just saying it, and then I'm like, okay, got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's it. And knowing that your decisions are always going to be made through this, how am I going to experience greater love? Because it's directed by the G center.
Right. Well, did you want to share a quick story that I'm going to ask you about, or did you want to talk about what these different types are?
It's up to you. I mean, I can share the types, or I can...
well, maybe I like to learn also from examples. So is there like a certain story, whether it's from a client or someone who was not living, and you probably see it all the time, not following their authority or their strategy and then switching to doing it, and what happens? Yeah.
And before I do, I was just thinking in my head, okay, what's the exact channel that Frank has that lights up your authority? And what is crazy is it's the only channel you have in your design, and it's called the channel of the storyteller.
Oh, wow.
And it's literally this, it's made up by these energies of A being the vault. So people come to you and they will tell you their deepest, darkest secrets. You don't need to know these people.
Yeah.
They will pick you out of a crowd. And what this channel is all about is, I'm learning from the stories of the past. And as I learn from the stories of the past, I'm going to go in a new direction. I'm going to help people move into a new direction. But to actually answer your question, I think one of the stories that I love to tell, and she's actually in the book, is a CEO that I worked with. And when I started working with her, she just got her first senior management promotion. And she was like, okay, I want to be a CEO in 8 years. I'm happy for it to take a bit of time. And at the same time, we were changing the way she leads, because she was leading like a man. She was, taking too much responsibility, which is all in her design, doing all of these things. So what we did is we shifted her over to being in alignment with her design. So what did that mean? Well, her leadership, she had to learn how to, yes, give away or delegate responsibility, but she also needed to understand, because she's a manifesting generator, that her superpower was doing many things at once, or like, again, breaking the rules of leadership. So I think we worked together in total that time, probably 6 months. And in 6 months, her leadership changed, and she just aligned to herself. So it wasn't about becoming a better leader out there.
Right.
It was about becoming a better leader in here. And one of the things that I love to watch is that all of a sudden she stopped doubting herself as a leader, and she just stepped in. When people thought, oh, well, you should be this way, she'd be like, no, this is the way I'm designed. And the story ends beautifully, because 3 years from that first promotion, we were cheersing over lunch for her first CEO role.
Wow.
Yeah. And she was hired because they'd seen that she does things differently. And the way that she could bring teams together and lead teams, that's what she was known for. So yeah, like when you lead you, then leading others becomes so much easier.
So the book is called Human Design Made Simple, again. And so you've clearly realized that some people might think human design is too complicated or too esoteric or whatever else that you've noticed. So how did you make it simple, but also not dilute like the depth of what it is?
Such a great question. And of course, it's my core talent. When we actually look at my design, like simplicity is a large part of why I'm here. And the way I did it is, again, I'm a 3-5 profile. So I really took my personal experience and then I broke down, which is the line 3, and then I broke it down into really practical, the line 5 experiments. So I took these big macro parts of human design and then I've literally given people an experiment. So you can learn this about yourself, but one thing that trips people up is most often we learn, but we don't integrate. So it doesn't get past the head. It's got to get down into the body. You've got to be living this. So then I just built an experiment model so that people can actually run the experiment. And like authority is the perfect example where, you know, for me, it simply says, so start making decisions once you've slept on it. Then you need to record what works, what doesn't work. You need to record your results. And as we're doing this, and because my background is in behavioral coaching, I'm actually helping you change your brain because the brain needs evidence. It's why we resist things is because our identity was pretty much set up until the age of 7. So we're operating from that identity. But as we experiment, my experiment model helps people actually change their brain as they go along because we're constantly giving the brain the evidence of, hey, not only is it safe, but I'm getting better results when I live my design than I did before.
Is there, because like you said, from age 7, you've been conditioned, you have your identity set up, with my whole work with spirituality, it's breaking down those things. Oh, I was abandoned, I was this, like clear all that, right? But do you find that people, like their mind has resistance, or is it pretty simple the way you've done it as far as like reprogramming?
Look, I think it's pretty simple, again, because that's my superpower. And I'm a manifesting generator, so I want to find the hack. I want to find the fastest possible way from A to Z. So again, I'm playing to my strengths. Yeah. I know how the brain works. I know how to change a neural pathway. So as much as I'm teaching you human design, I'm also helping you change your identity at the same time. So yeah, it is simple. If you do the work consistently, then it's simple. Yeah, it's so cool to hear it from that perspective too, because you understand behavioral patterns, but weren't you a practitioner of NLP? Yes. Right? Yeah. And so you know how to reprogram and how to change these neural pathways, and at the same time, an expert in human design. I don't think I've seen anybody else combine those two like that. Yeah, well, and that's why I created transformational human design, because I think one of the things that I see a lot in the human design world is people are just taking it and teaching it as a dogma. Right. And one of the primary principles of human design is that it's an experiment. What does that mean? It means try it on, see what results you get. If your results improve, great, keep going. If they don't, just let it go. No one is here to tell you who you are. I'm here to give you the guidebook to access all of those answers that lie within you. I don't want to tell you who you are. That's exactly the opposite of what I'm here to do. And I know that because I am absolutely the person that cannot be told who I am. I even remember my mum saying, she'd say, oh, you're so blah, blah. And I'd be like, no, I'm not. Don't tell me who I am. So I think that that's the thing that I really want people to understand with human design is it's not a dogma. It's an experiment. So if you go out and just give it a go, just give it a run, see how life changes. If it gets better, which honestly I've not had anyone walk away. I tried to walk away from it 3 times, but I don't know anyone that does walk away from it once they actually implement it. Yeah, you're right, because the people that I know that are into human design, well, when I say into, like they want to see your chart when they meet you, right? They can tell you, oh my God, your spleen. Oh yeah, that's where you leak out your, they just tell you everything. Exactly. But they're so into it, and it's because you can tell they've just really seen it work in their life. Yeah. And when you apply it to everything. Exactly. And you want to make it more mainstream, and you've said that. What would that look like? Like, what would the world look like if everybody was utilizing human design? Well, ultimately, isn't our universal principle oneness? And we're now in this age of Aquarius, and age of Aquarius is all about uniqueness. It's exactly what human design is. It's the science of differentiation. So for me, what this world looks like is that our kids go to school with their human design and they actually get taught the way they're designed to learn. Wow. So what they learn when they're born and at school is not you have to fit in, is that we have to serve you. We have to work for you. And if we're honouring the individual. So if we're honoring ourselves, our uniqueness, we love, trust, and accept ourselves, then again, universal principle says, as within, so without. We can only create a world that loves, trusts, and accepts each other because we love, trust, and accept ourselves. So ultimately for me, human design is the way that, we can actually see the other instead of just assuming they're the same as us, which is a massive fault of the human brain.
Wow. Well, okay. Speaking of the fault of the human brain, because there is that self-image, and it's even becoming more difficult. This one's easy, but difficult to do interviews now because I'm starting to see how everything, whether it's the teacher or the listeners, are listening from self-identification of the body, like body identification. So even like I did a podcast interview, I was on their show and they talked about Rumi and the quote, what you seek is seeking you. And I was like, I just have to pause because if you read that and you're reading it from body identification, you think what he's saying is that Lamborghini you're seeking is seeking you. And then they start manifesting and getting into this manifesting hole of like, oh, what I seek is seeking me. So that house that I want is also, but what he meant from his state of ecstasy and bliss is that what you seek, that divine love, you think you're seeking the car and this and the love and the partnership. What you're seeking is divine love and to know that you're safe and that you're free and liberated. And that divine love is waiting for you also. It wants to be found. It's like you're a fish swimming in the ocean looking for the ocean. And the divine love is, and so I'm like, you can read Rumi, but if you're really attached to your self-image, you're not able to grasp what he's really saying.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and so, but that's why I wonder with this, because I think this is a key quote from you, stop striving to be someone you're not. So how do you help people distinguish between staying aligned versus trying to protect a self-image?
Well, I love that. The simple answer is, are we operating from fear or love? Because when we operate from love, we're operating from something much higher than the ego. When we operate from fear, then we're operating from the ego. So we know that we're attached to something. I talk a lot about in my work, we need to understand the difference between being out of alignment and being out of our comfort zone. Because a lot of people will say, oh, I'm just out of alignment. I'm like, no, you're not. You've just hit a boundary condition in your brain. And your ego's like, well, I haven't done this before, so I'm telling you no. So we need to understand that discomfort doesn't mean it's not correct. So I think that's another reason why I love human design, because it's so specific. So it's going to go into your specific fears. Like my core wound is the shadow of deafness. And when I hear that, I'm like, wow, that was my entire childhood. Like I would literally, if something was scary, I would stick my fingers in my ears and go, la, 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 la. I would refuse to hear things. So our design actually helps us see the things that perhaps we don't want to see. And we can see them with such clarity that, we can ignore them and walk away, but you can never forget. Like once it's seen, it's seen. So again, I feel like human design really helps us face the hard bits just as much as seeing the greatness that lies within us. And, as I said, like once we see it, we can't not see it. So I really believe that our human design brings us home. It brings us home to who we are. It brings us home to our communication with source, how we're physically being guided, the work we're here to do, how we're here to serve, but also how we experience joy, because we all experience joy so differently. And ultimately, when we align to that, and it's not, because I do have this thing where I hear people say, well, I'm a projector, so therefore, I'm like, no, that's not how it works. It's all about your energy. It's about your DNA. It's how your energy expresses. Then your personality and then your behavior are going to express on top of that, but it's going to be always influenced by your design.
Oh, but I want to know more about what you just said, because that's how I am with astrology. When people go, oh, well, I'm a Taurus, so I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. You have to look at the planets in each house. What does that mean? How are they conjunct with each other? How, there's a whole story going on in your chart, more than just, oh, I'm a Taurus, so I'm stubborn or whatever, Exactly. So how is that with what you're describing? If someone's just like, oh, well, I'm a projector, so I'm not going to do that because whatever.
Yeah, well, I think that one of the things for me, I'm all about breaking the rules. And if someone uses their human design against themselves or as an excuse why they won't do something, well, I'm going to find something to challenge that. It's why, it's hilarious. For some reason, I talk a lot about Taylor Swift. I talk about her to make the point because a lot of projectors will go, oh, I have no energy. I have no energy.
Is she a projector?
She's a projector.
Oh.
So yes, she is an energy projector. She has a defined root center. But the thing is that when a projector is doing what they love, it's not work.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing that gives them energy. So they can have just as much energy. However, they are going to be deeply affected by the things that are work. That's the thing that's going to really draw their energy out. So I think the biggest thing is we have to not use any modality. It's not just human design. We've got to stop using it as a crutch or as a mask or as a reason why we can't, and instead be curious. Well, if I'm doing this in alignment with my design, then wow, I've hit discomfort. I am about to do something that I haven't done before. Perhaps I have, I often say, like, your ego has a bucket of fear and excuses and reasons, and it knows exactly what to say to you to stop you moving forward. But your human design is going to help you. So if you get a really clear invitation, but there's, you can feel that you're afraid, that you're resistant, but you get this super clear invitation, and when you actually feel into that invitation, you're like, yeah, I really want to do it. Then you talk it out through your authority, and then you just hear that knowing drop in and go, this is absolutely the right thing. You can be afraid, but it's only because your ego is afraid. The rest of your design is saying, we've got green lights everywhere here. Let's just keep moving forward.
So then if a projector gets an invitation and starts, is it always say yes to the invitation?
No.
Okay.
So that's a really important thing for projectors to understand. Number one is that you can say no to invitations if they're not aligned. If your authority says, no, or you've actually said it already, not right now, you can know that perhaps this is the right thing, but not right now. The other thing that projectors really need to understand is if they're constantly either forcing or they're getting lots of invitations and they're like, well, I just have to say yes to it, and they're not checking in with their authority, because that's their strategy. They have to check in with their authority.
So authority, again, it's like, for me, would have been, just for as an example, that's the one of talk it out.
Exactly.
Okay, so the strategy is wait for the invitation. Authority, talk it out, and then decide.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Okay.
And, because what's going to happen with a projector is if you say yes to a bunch of invitations that aren't correct or not right now, then you're going to use up all your energy. And then what happens is no invitations come, because the universe can't give you an invitation if you don't have the energy to receive
This is blowing my mind, because it's so accurate.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of, I wouldn't say guilt, but I have a lot of people who are like, oh, well, when are we going to finally hang out? Or when are we going to do that thing? And it's like a collaboration that I have no interest or, and I look past, I look at the chain, and there's so many times where I'm like, hey, it's not really in alignment, but thanks anyway. Or, hey, if you ever have a concrete, specific thing that you're asking me to do, please send it over, but not just like, hey, let's get I don't just have time to just get together, know? But then I start feeling like when I do go, okay, fine, they really want to, and then I do it, I end up losing other things like clients or opportunities or things that I would have filled that time with.
Exactly.
And then I end up being burned out.
Exactly.
And so it's so important to really, now as you say it, I'm like applying it in my life, like, oh wow, I really do need to honor that.
And that's it, ultimately your soul signed a contract. You chose to come in and be this person on this timeline. It's something that I used to think that we had so much free will. But now I'm like, you know what? Our free will is which timeline? Are we going to go down here in fear and shadow, or are we going to go up towards enlightenment? Our free will is where on that scale we're going to operate. But this journey that we're here to be on, this soul's purpose, we have commitments, we have responsibilities that our mind, our belief systems can't override. They're going to happen whether we like it or not, type thing. So I really feel like our human design helps us understand the operating system that we're here with, that really helps us go, okay, now that you have to actually want to do the invitation by using your authority to know, you know what, this feels really correct. I feel like I have energy for it, because otherwise it's going to take longer for the correct invitations to come to you because you'll burn all your energy out.
And how does that apply with relationships? So why is it important to know your colleague or your romantic partner or your best friend's design?
Because again, the way our brain is designed is that we see the world as we are. It's the golden rule, treat your neighbor as though you'd like to be treated. No. because you don't know how that other
Right.
person wants to be treated, and they don't want to be treated like you.
Treat them how they want to be
Exactly. So when you start to look at all the relationships in your life, you start to realize how different these people are, you know, how they operate so differently. Like one of the stories that I think's like small, but, you know, important is my ex-husband was a projector, still is. And I could never work out, like, how do you not drive for long? Like every half an hour he needs a nap.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, what's going on? Just drive, because I can drive for like 5 hours straight. It's not a problem. And then, of course, as soon as I learned human design, I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense now. Because his focus on doing that thing that, let's be honest, he obviously just didn't want to do was burning so much energy. Whereas for me, I actually enjoy driving and I have so much more energy for it. So even that simple little thing got me thinking, wow, well, what else is specifically different? You know, like he needs invitations. I respond to, you know, things that are going on out there and I move really fast and he won't necessarily move fast. Yet one of the other decisions that was, one of the other things that was really interesting was the way we made decisions. He was splenic, so it was quick, fast, spontaneous, in the moment. And I'm emotional, so I'm slow. Everything needs to be slept on. You know, I need time. So when we start to understand the relationships in our lives, then all of a sudden we treat them differently. I think about parenting. So how I parent my two boys, they're both manifesting generators, but they're sacral manifesting generators. So when they give me a decision, I would never tell them, oh, you better sleep on it. I'm like, okay. I don't ask them why. I don't get them to justify themselves because they just have a gut knowing that this is, yes, it's correct for them, or no, it's not. They don't know why. So you start to parent differently. You know, if I had a projector child, I wouldn't have put them in loads of after school activities because they just don't have they're sitting there at school taking in everybody else's energy all day.
True.
They're exhausted. So don't force them to do something that they just don't have the energy to do. And then I think about my business. So I have a big business. I have no interest in having a big team. You know, like you, I'm a line 3. I want to travel. I want to pivot. I'm a manifesting generator. So one of my highest values is freedom.
Yeah.
So we have a small team. There's 3, 4 of us in the core team. The 3 of us are manifesting generators. So we move really quickly. We can do 3 things at once. And I remember a projector saying to me, well, does that mean I need a manifesting generator? I'm like, no, we would blow your mind. You would get so uncomfortable with the speed in which we do things. We leave things to what you would perceive as the last minute. We're constantly working on at least 3 things. It would drive other people crazy, but for us, it works really well. So when we really work with the design of ourselves, our relationships, our kids, our business, all of a sudden we're working to everybody else's strengths. And, you know, whatever success is, it's going to be, you know, come from flow and ease and grace and joy.
It really makes a big difference too. Do you, I want to know if you, when you were hiring, do you look at their charts or their human design? Is that 100%. Part of it?
Yeah, 100%. So we actually, the last hire that we did, we had, I think, somewhere between 60 or 70 applications. Then I looked at all of the human design charts. Then Taylor looked at all of what they could actually do. Then we swapped. We with that information, we got it down to 10 people. Then we interviewed 10 people. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we just followed our authority. So every time we got off the call, because Taylor's a sacral MG, so we'd get off the call and just look at each other and just say, sacral says, like, question mark, and she'd be like, yes, no, and I'd be like, yes, no. And then ultimately the person we hired, she was shy. We couldn't get enough out of her. We could, like, every other interviewer would have just said, no, that's not her. That was the chart, the number 1 human design chart that fit us the best. She had the skills that fit the best. She interviewed probably, and, you know, I don't want to say good, bad, or indifferent, but it was not the best interview. Yet the moment we got off the call, we just went, it's her. Okay. We just knew. Wow. And she is exceptional. So again, like when you use human design, not only looking at someone else's chart, but use your own design, then, you know, in my experience, you can't go wrong.
I'm going to, as soon as we end this or later tonight, going to run the human design of me and my business partner for my online course and community, because we did do, before I even signed an agreement, before we started working together, I was like, we have to get a Vedic astrology reading together. And we did. And it was so true. It was like, the astrologer was like, Frank, your chart is very calm. Like there aren't ripples. You're just very easy. You're simple. You like it like this. You're like, we're going to do this. And he's like, his chart is very like, okay, we're going to do it now. We're going to try this. We'll also try that. We'll try this. We'll try this too. And like one of them will work, you know? And so he's like, other than that, everything is perfect. But just know that you guys are going to be like, you're going to be like, oh, well, let's just, and he's going to want to try this. Let's try that, you know? And going into it, knowing that was just helpful. Yeah. It's not like I had to change it or be like, we can't do this. It was more just like, and he was really good also about, hey, Frank, how does this day feel for like doing a free masterclass? And I'd be like, I don't know why, energetically, let's just do it the next week. And he just has to trust that and be like, okay, like you go off feeling, I'm going off logistics, like looking on the calendar, you know? Yeah. And it's worked really well doing that. But now I'm curious with human design too.
I have to know if he's a manifesting generator.
I know. You actually, when you were saying it, I was thinking you have a lot of sacral manifesting generators in your life. Both your sons and your whole team. Yeah.
Which is really, I would say, uncommon. You know, because most teams will be made up of a blend of, you know, different types. However, you know, especially I think about myself and Taylor. So we've both got line 5. So I'm a 3-5 and she's a 5-1. And we have a big global mission. So it's no surprise that we'd have, you know, this team of only 3 people, because I only want 3 people, yet we have all 3 manifesting generators, so we can do so much. We have 2 line 5s that really want to have a global impact. Then I think about my boys, and when I look at my boys' charts, I can see exactly why I would have called them in and why they would have called me in, right down to their incarnation cross. Like, yes, as a manifesting generator, these kids have been raised with freedom and they've been taught to trust their gut. So these simple things. But I mean, I go right down into their design. Like I know simple things like in their gene keys, their spiritual quotient. So our spiritual quotient is how we connect to source. And as a parent, if we align or we give our kids the keynote theme of that, then everything else is going to be okay. So my eldest son, it's all about pleasure. So it's adventure. It's this line 3 energy. So, you know, being playful with him. Like he doesn't do very well with being told off. And of course there's been times, there's rules, there's boundaries, but I know that if I can make it fun, then he'll respond really well. My younger son, it's been even more important because he actually has patience. So just knowing that from him being very young, and he's got so many other indicators in his chart that says, just be patient with this kid. So I haven't tried to force him or push him in certain directions. You know, he's a line 2, so he doesn't like authority. He's going to push back. He's got a defined will center. He knows what he wants. And at 14, I'm starting to see this kid that peer group pressure is just not a thing for him. He walks his own path. He is so, you know, his spiritual connection is really dialing up. And it's because I just left him alone, because I knew I just had to be patient with him. Although there are so many things that other people are like, I remember when he was little and parents would look at me and be like, your kid's like right up in the tree. And I was like, yeah, yeah. And he's like, he could fall. Yeah, he could. Wow. And they're like, but you need to get him down. I'm like, no, I can't. He's not that kid. Like there's no way, unless I go up there, put him under my arm and bring him down, he will be fine. And if he's not, then he'll work it out. And, you know, even at the time, I was nervous to parent this kid like that. But he has time and time again, like he's worked it out. He's got himself into trouble. He's taken responsibility. He's worked all that stuff out. And at 14, which is the time that boys start to go a little bit crazy, at 14, he is going against his friends. Like his friends are making choices that as a parent, I'm like, God, I wish you wouldn't hang out with people that did that. And he's just making choices not to go that way. So again, it helped me just to be patient. So in every area of the chart, in every relationship, it's going to help us be a better version of ourselves and treat that person the way they're actually designed to be treated.
And especially if that's happening at such a young age, it's such a gift.
Yeah, because they're not getting conditioned.
Yeah.
So they're not getting conditioned. They're not being told you have to conform.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the biggest teachings that I love is that don't raise your children or don't, condition them. Don't raise them. Give them a safe environment to show you who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah. How does knowing your incarnation cross, which, you discussed, I didn't realize there's more than, or
there's
close
around
to 200.
180, yeah.
That's so when you said yours is one of the only ones, if not the only one, to me,
it's the only one
that shift. I thought, oh, that's cool. Like 1 out of 4 people probably, but no, you mean 1 out of like close to 200.
Well, it could be even more than that because
Wow.
the way the crosses, this is where the complication comes in, and the things that people don't really need to know. But there are some crosses that are super, super rare, like a juxtaposition cross and the left hand crosses. They're a lot rarer
What's
than the
mine
right
called?
hand. You're a right angle cross.
Okay.
So the right angle cross of 4 ways.
I'm going to look this up tonight. Okay.
Yeah, it's
so the
all-
right
and it's all-
angle cross of 4 ways.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. But our incarnation cross is, if you think about our aura, okay, this energetic bubble that we walk around in, the 4 gates that we have in our incarnation cross, they're working together to do the work of your cross. You're completely unconscious to this. It's happening all the time. Again, I love to tell the story of my kids. So when my eldest son was born, he's the cross of the sleeping phoenix. In a nutshell, these are people that are here to help people rise from the ashes. He was the pivotal thing that helped my mental health because I was doing depression and panic disorder at the time. He was the thing that started to help me rise from the ashes. The baby did nothing. His energy did everything. My second son, who's the cross of the Sphinx, which is all about direction, 3 months after he was born was when I started my first business. So left the advertising industry and started my first business. So these are babies. They're not doing anything, but their energy
Just
is
them
helping.
being there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our incarnation cross is always working. So mine, I'm the cross of planning. So community is huge for me. And it's interesting, like I'm thinking about the community that you're building. I'll have to look at your chart. In fact, I will look at your chart quickly because there is actually, you don't have the whole channel, but you might have the gate of community. So again, we can look at my cross is really about helping communities evolve. It's actually been the governing cross for the last 600 years. And we're moving into, in 2027, we're moving into the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So it's this time where we're all rising from the ashes, where we're actually moving into self-empowerment. We're redefining intimacy. We're really discovering what true, like abundance, like connection to spirit is. So it's a very different time.
This is the incarnation cross of humanity.
Exactly. It's our background
How long
frequency.
does that last?
The last one's been, I think it's they're usually around 600 to 800 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's a
okay.
really long time.
Yeah.
Yep. You don't have the channel of community.
I didn't think so. When you said it, I was thinking it doesn't feel like that because I do like to be isolated too, but maybe it has to do with the teaching and sharing and storytelling and
exactly.
Yeah.
But that isolation actually comes from your gate of privacy. So the gate
is that what it is?
yeah, the gate of privacy, which is in your only channel, the 33. Like you want to go away and really work out what you've heard from all of these stories. You really want to understand what that means to humanity.
Yeah.
So you go away and kind of sit with it, and then you're going to help people write new stories for the future.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that. And so with the incarnation cross, the last question there is just about, so many people are wondering what their purpose is. What is my contribution? For me personally, I feel like that is also, like I said earlier, difficult for me to talk about now because I don't see it that way anymore. I don't actually believe anybody has a purpose. And I know it's such a weird, people don't like to hear that. So I don't like to say it. But I feel like, yes, the body has, like you said, a blueprint. We come in, we have our purpose in that sense, but I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. So, and I'm not even the observer. I came prior to the observer. It goes so far. This is all from my isolation, but with that said, I do feel, like you said, there's very little free will, if any. It's all predestined. But it's actually like we're kind of saying the same thing. I want to know how the incarnation cross can help people figure out their purpose, their contribution. And at the same time, I'm saying that, not believing that we have one. But I do believe I can see how the body and the mind have that purpose they came in here to fulfill. And it will get fulfilled anyway. And that's what I think is like predestined is. Yeah. And that we don't have to actually do anything like we think we do. It's all happening. It's spontaneously, life is happening. And we are the observer of that happening, that spontaneous happening. but it's helpful to know what is happening.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that. And I would say, to start with, my opinion is your purpose is to be you.
Mm-hmm.
That's your purpose, to be you, because your soul did come in to learn something. And I think this is how human design has really helped me understand that. Like, your purpose is to be your most authentic self, operate from love, experience joy. And as you move through life, you're going to help and serve others just by being you. That could be, you know, taking big actions and doing a lot, or that could be tending to a rose garden.
Yes.
You have a puzzle piece that fits into everybody else's puzzle piece. So ultimately, being you is the job or the purpose of this lifetime. But I mean, we have so many places in our chart. I'm really big on, because I'm a bit the same. I don't want you to go, well, I'm the cross of four ways and this is my purpose. It doesn't work that way. And even Ra Uru, who brought all the knowledge in, he almost didn't teach incarnation cross ever because he didn't want everyone's minds getting attached to, this is what I came here to do. And ultimately, our purpose through human design, like our incarnation cross, is going to give us a deeper understanding of who we are and the work we're here to do. However, the moment you try to do that thing, because our incarnation cross isn't about doing, it's about being. As I said, my kids did it. They did nothing. They just were born, brought this energy to me, and this energy guided me where I needed to go. So this happens all the time. I mean, every single client I work with, every guest I have on the podcast, you know, I even ask at tea ceremony. I'm obsessed with tea ceremony. And if I can, I'm going to ask the people in the queue waiting to go in if they know their human design and if they know their incarnation cross, because I want to know who I end up sitting next to, because my energy is calling in their cross. So it's like right here, we're sitting here today because on some level, and you've already said it, you need to bring structure and strategy to evolve your community. That's my cross. Like, that's why we're here, right? So we're having this whole conversation and we think our minds are like, yeah, we know what this is about. But really, our auras are playing a very different game underneath. It's bringing energy so that you can evolve your community.
I love that you're saying this. On day one of my course, and we have a live class every Sunday, I said, you think you know why you signed up for this course. Your brain told you, I want to build a 6-figure business, or I want to have a community where we learn techniques, ancient Vedic or Egyptian techniques or whatever it is, but you don't know why you're here. And I said, and I don't know why I'm here. I think I know why I'm building this community and what I want to create, everything, but I don't know really what's happening. And we have to always live in that state of like, I don't actually know. I'm just observing. Let's see why this is happening. The book that is coming out in December, I'm actually writing the next one. And this one's getting published while I'm writing the third one, because my first one was published in 2020. And there was an invitation where I told somebody about the book in 2020, and they reached out to me in 2024 and were like, do you want to publish this with us and Macmillan, which is like one of the biggest publishers in the world? And I was like, oh, sure. And then like 2 months later, there was a deal. And I had totally shelved this project and didn't outreach, didn't have an agent like I did for the first one, nothing. And it was all of just like you said, living in that strategy of just wait. It's not the time yet. And so I told everybody in the class day one exactly what you just said of like, look, you think you know why you're here, but you don't actually know why. And it was in the last call. Now we're like in our third month. And there was like 3 people in the class that said, I just want you to know, and they were saying to everybody in the group, I now get it, of like what he said on day one of you don't know why you're here. They're like, I thought it was this, but all these other things are happening.
Yeah. And I mean, I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
I came for this, but didn't realize that this is what I needed. And you know what's really cool? I just had a quick look at your chart. Your core talent is the gate 5. So the gate 5 in human design, it's called the gate of routine. It's really about creating safety around routine. But if we just pop the gene keys over that, because it is your gene keys core talent, it is the core talent of patience. It's the shadow of impatience, and it's the Siddhic state of timelessness. So everything you're talking about, like, I don't believe in this anymore, the Siddhic state of timelessness is everything is now. We know nothing.
It's literally all of that is happening also now for me. This is all like in the last 6 months. I'm like, I don't think I can have conversations anymore. Yeah. Because I'm just watching everybody's like mind in action. And while I'm in this, you know, the best way to describe it is like, you know, the women that carry the baskets on their heads in like rural areas. And they'll fill it with something, water or whatever else. And as they're walking back, they talk to each other. They'll stop and talk. And they're not holding it with their hands, but it's staying up. So while they're having this conversation, their attention is always here. And that's how it is. It's like, I'm living life. I'm having conversations. I'm still going to dinners and doing my podcast and whatever else. But my attention is not leaving the basket on my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm aware the whole time of this, even though this is all happening.
Yeah. And I love that, because ultimately what it's really saying, and perhaps I think you said earlier, it's beyond that, but it's like you are in witness consciousness. It's kind of like, yeah, this is a fun ride. Like, let's see what happens next.
See what happens.
You know? And my influence is literally my frequency. And I think when we do get to a certain place in our frequency where our consciousness gets to that certain level, we can't partake in the way we used to. You know, it becomes more of, I'm just watching this. I'm just a passenger here. I actually just worked out that I am actually the passenger, and I'm just going along for the ride.
And you can get it as a concept, right? But then when you get it and experientially, as you are, by living your design and whatever else, you realize like, oh no, it's like a very real thing that I think I'm doing, but I'm just observing the doer. And
100%.
So I guess to end it on a personal note for you, what does vitality look like when you're living your design? And what does depletion look like when you're not living your design?
Well, I suppose let's start with depletion. Depletion just feels like force. It feels like, you know, it's that feeling that you get when you wake up in the morning and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
I just have to get it. I just, you know, back on the hamster wheel. Because vitality is alignment. Vitality is, you know, it's crazy. And just hearing you speak, there's so much resonance in my life experience. You know, a lot of people will say to me, God, can you just teach me how to get a book deal? I'm like, I have no idea how to get a book deal. I just followed my strategy and authority. And it just all worked out. And even to the point where the divine timing was off the charts. We didn't get an American publisher straight away. But I also made the line 3, there was a mistake in my book. So in the first few that went out in Australia and England, there was a mistake. Like, it wasn't a horrible mistake, but for me personally, I'm like, that's a mistake. But of course, our American publisher, which is also Penguin, came on later. They wanted to launch later. They had their own. And I'm like, yeah, sure, go for it. So of course, there's no mistake.
Wow.
So it's that piece where vitality is, and this is what I say to myself every day. I used to have it as a kid and now I have it back as an adult, is that I wake up and go, I have no idea what's going to happen today, but I'm super excited. Let's just see what happens. When you live your design, we come back to you love, trust, and accept yourself. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be the dogma. Again, let's go back to the beginning of the conversation. If you just follow your strategy and authority, if that's all you do, you are going to fall into alignment. It will just happen. You will stop conforming, stop thinking about it, stop overriding your intuition, and you will just become more and more yourself. And, you know, Ra talked about it takes 7 years to decondition. So if you follow your strategy and authority for 7 years, then you will, by default, just become your most aligned version of you. So vitality in my book is the fact that it's that Carl Jung quote, the privilege of a lifetime is to be oneself. That's what vitality is to me.
Wow. Well, that's like the perfect place to end it. Oh my God. I could talk to you all day.
Yeah, same.
And so the book is called Human Design Made Simple. I highly recommend it. I'm actually going to go through and do that because I've read through it, but I haven't done the actual exercises.
Yeah.
And now as I hear you, because, you know, especially when you're a teacher yourself, sometimes you think, and it's like the ego mind too, of like, oh, well, I don't need to do the exercises. I'm living my, Emma says I'm doing good as a projector. But it's like, wow, I really do want to really go through, because even if it's one little thing that I learned about myself today, like the incarnation cross, even if it's just validating what a medium has told me or whatever else, it's so good to have that like, yes, someone else sees me.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And you don't have to, I think that's another thing that's beautiful about human design. You can see you.
Yeah.
You don't have to get other people to help you see you.
Yeah.
Human design will help you see you.
I was thinking about that when you brought up the example of somebody could just, it doesn't have to be a book deal. You can be in your rose garden and that's your purpose. And if human design validates that for you, how beautiful for someone to not feel like they need to strive because mom says I need a better, like I love being in my garden.
Yeah.
That's what lights me up. And who knows what that leads to if you're following that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Make you believe that you really choose it. Ever since I wrote my goals down with the pen, my dreams and reality have both been